Hello, everyone. This is Realtor Linda Peltz. Today I'm with Chris, and he's going to tell you all about his company. Take it away, Chris.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Chris Castañon. I work with Takeo Hydroflow Pumps. And what we do is we specialize in vertical pumps, vertical turbines, water lube, and submersible pumps. Basically, our pumps are built for the farmers out here, us being
Mhm.
the number one ag producer in the whole world.
Yes, we are.
Um, us being the number one ag producer in the whole wide world. Of course, there's a lot of pump companies out here. We're one of them that are out here, and what we do is we manufacture our own bowls. So we have, stainless steel impellers. We also have ductile iron bowls and so forth. I've been in this industry for 10 years. 10 years. I started out as a temp, and the last 8 years I've been running it. So I'm a manager out here.
Nice.
Basically, what we do is we build the pumps for our farmers, or it's a custom pump. So not every pump is the same. So we're not doing repetitious builds. But what we are actually doing is that every bowl that is built by us, depending on what um, the depth of the pump, the well is, then we customize it so that way they can get the best usage out of our pump.
For
So
all,
us
all
being
us laymen, tell us where it kind of fits within the well. I mean, kind of tell us what do you use it for? Because not everyone's going to know what a bowl is for the pump.
Yeah, for sure. Basically, what I say, the analogy that I use is like the pumps that we build is kind of like a straw, right? So we have a straw. This would be our pump, and this would be the water table that is underneath us, right? So our pump, what it does is it gets inverted inside the well. And what it does is it sucks up the water from the water table, and then it disperses it to the fruit or whatever it is that our farmer is growing. So basically, I like to use this to be very simplistic. It's basically our pump is basically like the
That's
straw. So
wonderful. No. And that would like go to the house, if there's a house on the farm with all the agriculture, it would probably go over and disperse all the crops anywhere that needs water maybe they have cattle, maybe they have, I don't know. Maybe they have
yeah,
chickens, maybe they have pigs.
yeah,
That's something that needs water. Anything that needs water comes out of a well on these large farms or large area homes that don't necessarily require city water, but they do have to have a water source. And that's where you come in and you build those to go down in the well for them.
Yeah, so basically, like everything that's got the fruit for the dairy as well, most municipal waters as well. So we basically customize it. So we're basically a custom shop, is what we are. So every order that we get is made to order and to fit what the customer's preferences are. That will help them get the best usage out of the water. As you know, we've been in
Nice.
a, a drought for a lot of years. So, being in this type of industry, what I realized is that one, we are in a drought, even though we got a lot of rain last year. We're still in this drought, so this helps our farmers produce the crops that they need to, one, to live, and two, to give us the supply, because the demand for fruits is so high, all over the world. So
Yeah, I'm originally from the Midwest, so I am out of Colorado. Now, they do have agriculture out there. They're more, I think, more cattle related, not necessarily crop related. And then I did about 12 years in Kansas, which is heavy agriculture out there. Of course, the crops are very different than what we have out here. So it was interesting coming out here. I ended up in another agricultural area. It's just different agricultural. So it's very interesting. And I came out of the wells and the septics, and I actually had two of the largest septics in the county that I lived in back in Kansas, with because I had a big old 1800 house and different things. But so I'm kind of familiar a little bit with them, but I'm not to the extent I'm sure you are. And I don't think the agricultural crops necessarily make a difference. It's just wherever you need water and whoever has the well, right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, absolutely. It's one of those things where, we basically out here in the valley, we're basically like in a desert.
Mhm.
So with that being said, I mean, the water table, I mean, it could go from anywhere from 50 feet to 250 feet, depending on where you're at in the valley. You know, I know Merced is pretty deep, where they have to, use a bigger size bowl. So our bowls that we make is anywhere from a 5-inch bowl all the way to a 21-inch bowl and everywhere in between. So depending on how far you got to go into the well, the bowls usually get bigger. So
Okay. The deeper you
yeah.
go, kind of the bigger it goes. Is that kind of how it works?
So if it's a 50 foot, well that you got to pump, your bowls aren't going to be too big because you're also not going to need a lot of horsepower to move the water as opposed to a well being 240 feet deep. And so the bowl size will be, anywhere between 12 to 14
Nice.
inches in the bowl.
I like your
Yeah.
straw analogy. That was a pretty good one. I assume there's other
Yeah.
parts in there somewhere.
Yeah, basically what
Because
our
it's not
pumps
using
do.
my sucking power to get it out.
That is true. I forgot to mention that our suction power would be the motor that it's attached to. That's what draws up the water and it makes it flow.
Nice.
But just being in this industry over 10 years, you get to see a lot of things, and of course, if you go outside of the city of Fresno, you know, you start to get into the countryside, you see a lot of agricultural, farms and so forth, and we produce everything. I mean, everything you could think
Yeah.
of. I mean, cotton,
You've probably
cantaloupe,
custom made
watermelon,
them something.
almonds. Yeah,
Nice.
almonds, grapes. I mean, we produce basically every food that there is out there. I guess that's one of the reasons why we're the number one producer in the whole world.
Definitely. Definitely. It's not even outside Fresno. I've actually sold homes here in Fresno. Of course, Clovis, still has well systems and different things. So, I mean, they're still around on some of these older properties, maybe that started out as the original ranch, right? And then they developed maybe with subdivisions out around them. So, I mean, they're still here, people. So, if you need one repaired, this is your guy, man. Do you have some contact information where they could get a hold of you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can show you my card, or I can give you the
Perfect.
information. Well, just let me know if that fits right there.
That fits. That fits. Might tell them verbally, and we'll also include it down below, people. So don't think you're going to lose it if you didn't have your pens ready.
Yeah, so it is Chris dot Castañon at hydroflowpumps.com. Taco has we're under the Taco umbrella, and what they do is they're similar to what Grunfus does, and they're back east. So that's our parent company, and it's pronounced Taco.
Oh, come
uh,
on, not taco. It is Taco Tuesday.
but when I first saw it, I thought the same thing, especially from us being in California, right?
Right, exactly. Happy Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so it's basically one of those again, that's my contact information. You can feel free to contact me. My cell number is 559-930-0216. And again, my name is Chris. And how long have you been doing real estate?
I've been in real estate for a very long time. And like I said, I've been in 3 different states, and it's interesting to see the differences in the way real estate's ran in each different state. California definitely has a ton of guidelines, a whole lot more paperwork, contracts, disclosures, that sort of thing. And it's just ran a little differently. And of course, every market's a little different. So every buyer comes into the market at a different time, so it's going to be a very different transaction than maybe it was, whatever, 2 years ago or even 6 months ago, because the market switched that fast.
Really?
So,
So
as a constant, I would say the best description of my job is a constant educational program for my buyers and my sellers, because it depends on what market it's in as to what strategies we use to help them get whatever their end goal is, whether it's to buy a home or whether it's to sell a home. So when's the best time to buy? Right now, because in 2 years you're going to be at least 2 years ahead of what you were. So don't wait, people. I mean, it's right now our interest rates are coming down a little bit from what they were. They'll never be that 2.5 that they were back during COVID. But do we really want the world to implode again on us? So I don't think that's really what we want. And that was just kind of artificially enhanced to where it's causing problems now because nobody's selling their 2.5% interest homes because they don't want to go back to that 5%, 6% interest, which I do think probably here in 6 months will be down under that 6%. But don't wait, because then you're going to have all these buyers out looking and you're still not going to be able to get a home. And these home prices are still going up. So it's just a continual educational process trying to get people to understand that the best time to buy is right now. If interest rates go down, you just refi, but at least you've got the home that you wanted. Because you wait for the interest rates to go down, you'll be lucky if you get into a home. We'll be fighting all these other buyers trying to get into it, and you're just going to have to take whatever you get at that point. And then, kind of re-switch it around when the market slows down a little bit to where you can actually have a choice on homes. So it's a continual education. Right now, our low end lendable homes is probably around that $350,000 kind of price range. That's kind of our low homes right now, which, 10
Wow.
years ago, 14 years ago, it was like 120, 150 was our low end, right? Lendable home. So definitely home prices are going up, and they're going to continue to go up. Don't wait, people, if you're looking to get into one. So, and for sure, if it has a well, get a hold of Chris and let's get it updated so that it, keeps its value and keeps its equity. So
So do
anyway,
you
this,
think that
go
do you
ahead.
think that is there a lot of availability on those type of homes right now, or what's the like, what's the rate to that? Is it like, one $350,000 home, right? Like, how many
You
people
know,
are trying to get into it? I know like years ago it was like 15 people to to one
Yes,
house,
it
and you
was.
get
And
it
right now
outbidded.
we're probably about, depends on the area. There again, that old saying, location, 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 right? I mean, so that's really important. You have to be happy with your location. I think the further outside of Fresno, they're maybe a little bit easier to get a hold of. But right now in Fresno, in specific zip codes, you're still looking at, 3 or 4 offers for home. And then Clovis, I mean, they're usually gone within a week, and God only knows how many offers was on them. No, there's not a ton available. There's at any given moment, there's maybe anywhere in that price range. Now, keep in mind, the higher price range you go, they sit out there a little bit longer just because not everybody can afford those. So
Right.
anything in the 350 range at any time, depending on your zip code. If you're open to any zip code, of course, you'll have a bigger choice, but you're probably looking at anywhere from maybe 25 on the market at a time to maybe 30 at a time. But keep in mind, they go usually within that first week, unless there's something holding it back. Maybe the seller's super hard to get along with. Maybe the seller won't leave the house and expects you to let them stay there for 3 months. I don't know. There's always something that holds some of these homes back. Maybe they're rental and they won't get the tenants out, or they may still be lendable, but for whatever reason you can't get into them. Those kind of homes stay out there a lot longer, and it kind of gives a false reading that homes stay out on the market a lot longer than they do, because they don't. Not viable move-in homes, that somebody could just move in here in 20 days, those go really, really fast. There has to be something holding it up. Maybe they listed it way too high and they couldn't get anybody to come look at it, and then they had to drop the price, right? Those will sit out there a little bit longer. There's just various reasons. So a viable home that the realtor does a great job at listing it for the correct price is usually in that price range, going to go within that week. So at any given time, you might have a choice of maybe 25, depending there again, if you open it up to all zip codes, you might have a choice of 25 to 40. Now you shut it down to maybe one zip code, you may be looking at maybe 3 to 5 homes for that zip
Mm.
code. That's not a ton. Not when I have, 50 buyers out looking, that's 10 per home. So
Yeah,
it
that's
just depends. Every situation's so different. I can have 2 identical homes and they're going to go 2 way different ways. And the background of it's going to be very different. Transactions are going to be very different. And that's the beauty of us realtors is, we can adapt to whatever the transaction life comes onto it that we need to in order to get usually it accomplished.
Yeah, wow. That's some good, really good information. That really is. And just, hearing you say, just if you're getting into a specific zip code or you're wanting a specific zip code, especially like out there in Clovis,
Hmm.
those do go pretty quick, and there's a
Clovis
lot of
is tough. Yeah. And I'm not sure. I mean, they're lendable, the 350. And keep in mind, most Clovis homes, their Fresno counterparts will be 20 to $30,000 cheaper. I mean, so most Clovis lendable homes may not be quite as updated and move-in ready as maybe some of its Fresno counterparts, right? So you can get a little bit sometimes more of a bang for your buck if you'll, stick to one of the Fresno zip codes, but keep in mind they're still tough too. I mean, you might get a little bit more house. So maybe you do decide, no, right? That location is really important. I want to be in Clovis. You're going to have to settle for that price range, maybe one that's not quite as updated, quite as put together. Maybe the yard needs some work. Maybe it didn't get granite put in there. Maybe it needs some new carpet run through the house. So you may have to do a little something. They're still lendable. It's just you're going to have to maybe not have it quite as move-in ready as you would maybe in a Fresno home. So it just depends on your location. Like we just did one out in Tranquility, and my specialty is I will take some of the homes and I guess play the flipper, I guess, for the seller, right? Because they worked hard for this home. I don't want to see them lose in equity. So that's kind of what I do. I have a string of contractors that go in. I mean, it's all approved by the seller, but I show them the difference between selling it as is, unfinished or unupdated or needing repairs versus selling it updated. And I'm not saying it has to be totally updated, but it needs to be clean. It needs to be move-in ready. Certain things need to be gone through, make sure the plumbing works, make sure it has some heat in there, make sure it, has all its smoke detectors, and I'll have a set of contractors go in and of course we'll give estimates and then they have to sign off on that. And then we'll put the house basically back together to where another couple can just come and move in and live in it fairly maintenance free for a few years. And then eventually they kind of have to start maintaining it themselves. But we make sure everything's up and going and clean. And, if it needs painted or whatever, we'll paint it. And so I that's kind of my specialty as I try to help, especially our older clientele out there that's maybe not been able to do maintenance on a home for, 10, 15 years, but they've worked
Mhm.
hard for that equity. I don't want to see you lose it. I don't want to see these shysters coming in and taking all that equity from them. So I'll go in and do their job and update it a little bit here and there, just whatever the market needs in order to get them the full equity out of that home. That's just kind of my specialty as a realtor. I like helping the clients and I have the skills, so therefore that's what I kind of do with mine. Not all realtors can do that. We all run our business just a little different. Kind of
Yeah,
like
for sure. And
you
that's
run it a
awesome.
little different than all the other pump companies out here.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you do that, that you go above and beyond is what I'm hearing. And, especially for like the older couples or the older people trying to sell their home and they just don't have the resources to get that done, and, I'm hearing you say about the equity, and I think that really is awesome of you that you do that. So,
Well,
yeah.
thank you. Thank you. I just did one out in Tranquility. It was probate. So the gentleman had died and the son was not even here in town. And he came in, and of course the home was very dilapidated and had big holes in the siding, and the heat was missing, and he's like, I
Mm.
don't know what to do with this house. Should I just sell it as is? I said, well, you're welcome to. I have plenty of investors that'll come in and take it for, maybe 80, 90,000. I said, and of course it's out. It's not necessarily in Fresno because I do work the whole Central Valley. It's not limited to just Fresno. And the further out the homes are, the cheaper they are. They're not lendable, and then that in that case, that home was not lendable. So it has to go to an
Mm.
investor that'll pay cash for it, which they pay pennies on the dollar. I
Okay.
said, or your other choice is, for an extra 50, 60,000, I can have my contractors come in here and put this house back together, repair everything, make it look nice so that somebody can just move in and start living. And you'll probably get around 250, 260 for it.
Wow.
Anyway, he's like, really? That would give me like an extra 100,000 in equity. I said, yeah. You gotta bear with me because it's not like snap my fingers overnight. I got to get my crews in here. Anyway, he went ahead and did it, and yeah, it sold for right in that that where I told him it would sell for. So he was super happy, got his extra 100,000 in equity, didn't have to lift a finger. And you know, it was lendable at that point. It was a cute little place. It actually was a what they call a, well, it was basically two homes. Somebody at some point had split a 3 bedroom into a 2 bedroom and a 1 bedroom apartment. So it had two
Mm.
and, you know, different things. So it was probably, I think, originally maybe from some of the, you know, farms, you know, had probably done it, you know, and for their workers and different things, I imagine at some point. But we just made it updated. It had 2 new kitchens in there. We repaired what needed repaired, you know, updated what we needed to update. We fixed whatever needed fixed. That particular one needed kind of plumbing all the way through. You know, you just never know till you get into it.
Right.
Anyway, no, he loved it. He so grateful he did it, and he got an extra 100,000 in his pocket that he wasn't going to get the way it looked. It had just gaping holes in the siding and looked horrible.
Yeah.
Most average first time home buyers would have freaked out and said, "There's no way."
I would have been that person like, no, I'm not doing that one.
Exactly. Most people can't and won't, and it just freaks them out. So definitely. So all homes are actually considered sold as is in California. So it's just a matter of what range of the as is price is it going to sell for. So and is it lendable? Because right, most, you know, 80% of people out there will need some sort of a home loan. And then in that particular case, it wasn't even lendable. It would have had to been a hard money, you know, fixer upper type loan if any loan went on it at all, which most of the investors, even if they would have put that type of loan, they're not going to pay but pennies on the dollar because they still have to go in and make all those repairs and fixes. And of course, what's their goal? Profit. So they take whatever little bit of equity that you had in there to do all that. So yeah, no, it's a great program. I of course enjoy working with all the contractors. They're great contractors. They were very reasonable, and I have contractors for about any contract work that you need. So it works out very well. But they're great guys. I've enjoyed working with them over the years. I've been out here working since 2015, I believe it was. So, and you know, I had to put my whole teams together out here right then when I came out here, and I've been working with them ever since. So they've been great.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome. That really is
yeah.
awesome. Hmm.
Anyway, this is Realtor Linda Peltz. It was great talking with you, Chris. Everybody, if you need some pump well work, give Chris a call, see if they can help you out, improve the quality of those wells, or if maybe one's not working right, or maybe you need a new one. I'm sure he can at least direct you in the right direction. My license number is 01997670. I will include all this information down below. Give us a call if you have any questions. You can always give me a call if you need Chris's information, and I'll get that over to you. Everybody, have a great day.